Hey guys, it's Jean-Claude, and as I mentioned yesterday, we are out of Worlds Collide. That is a shame, but we can get into our patron openings this month. Today's deck is going to be for Rick Fulford, and here we are with AOA again. Hopefully we see some good decks. Patrons typically do get the better decks of my AOA decks. I was looking through mine, and I don't have really any good ones, but I know I've opened up some pretty amazing ones on the channel. So good luck to you, Rick. Red Archon. Shadows is a great start. Mars, they're going to be gone in Worlds Collide, so it's good to see those guys again. And Dis. Mimosti of Stariar. And that's a pretty cool Archon there. Got the swirl going up. Hands kind of out, almost like the, not stretched out wide like the levitating rocks one we had. That's pretty cool up top there, like flames. Alright, good luck to you. And if you yourself would like to support the channel in any way, you can go to my Patreon account. It's linked down below in the description. Whether it's getting more decks to open up for you guys, or new equipment so I can make the videos better, everything does go back right into the channel. Alright, drop down the Archon card there. Start off with Shadows, it's Redlock, 3 power skirmish. At the end of your turn, if you did not play any creatures this turn, gain an amber. That can actually happen pretty often in Shadows if you already have this out there. A lot of times you're just playing cards to steal, so Redlock is not too bad. Oubliette, purge a creature with power 3 or lower. Hidden Stash, amber whenever you play it, archive a card. Yancey Gang is 5 power, action, steal an amber. Very good card. Oh, and you have 2 of them. Throwing Stars, deal 1 damage to up to 3 creatures, gain 1 amber for each creature destroyed this way. Swindle, very nice. Alpha and Omega, so it's the only card you can play on your turn. Steal 3 amber. Sucker Punch, amber whenever you play it. Alpha, deal 2 damage to an enemy creature. If that creature is destroyed by this effect, you archive Sucker Punch. It's pretty nice. The ability to always come back and get that amber every Shadow's turn is very good. And we have 2 Sucker Punch. Okay, that's the limit that we want on something like Sucker Punch. Do not show us a 3rd. Good. Oh, whoa. Check this out. It's Nerve Blast. Steal an amber. If you do, you deal 2 damage to a creature. So between Sucker Punch and Nerve Blast, there's a decent chance we can maybe get some extra amber off the Throwing Stars right here. Oh, and a second Nerve Blast. This is kind of what you want to see in Shadows. Just good utility cards. It's not really your main house. It's something you just want to call every so often. Lamindra, 1 power, deploy, elusive, and Lamindra's neighbors gain elusive. Now we're on to Mars. Check out how big this Mars creature is. It's Gromid. 10 power, you cannot play creatures. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Gromid, your opponent loses 1 amber. This is one of those high risk, high reward cards. If you have a good Mars board and really your opponent can't deal with it, this is a great creature to play down. It gives you a little bit of amber control, and it's a big beefy creature that just destroys a lot of things, so that's pretty good. Philoxum Spike, amber whenever you play it. If there are no friendly creatures in play, destroy each creature not on a flank. Mothership Support, amber whenever you play it. For each friendly ready Mars creature, deal 2 damage to a creature. You may choose a different creature each time. Key Abduction, amber whenever you play it. Return each Mars creature to its owner's hand. Then you may forge a key at +9 current cost, reduced by 1 for each card in your hand. It'll be interesting to see if we have anything that really combos with this card. Yixlix Dominator, 9 power, 1 armor, taunt. Enters play stunned. I personally believe this is the best Mars creature in AOA, simply because it is a huge body that is hard to get off the table, taunt, and in AOA, the creatures are so much better, you always just want to protect them. Just protecting these Yancey Gangs with this Dominator is very powerful. The ability to steal 2 every turn while your opponent has to try and deal with this creature is really cool. So I love seeing Dominator in every single AOA deck I open. And you have 2 of them, so that's twice as good. And a 3rd one! Depending on what other creatures you have here in Mars or Dis, you might have a lot of creatures you want to protect, so this is actually pretty good. I'm totally fine with 3 of these. Do we have a 4th? No, okay. Tixel Beam Buckler, 4 power, 1 armor. Play, deal 2 damage to a creature and move it to either flank if its controller's battle line. That's actually a good card with the Key Abduction. Even if you're not getting a key from the Key Abduction, just play this guy, dealing 2 damage, return it to your hand, then do another 2 damage is actually pretty nice. Mindworm, 1 power elusive before fight. The creature Mindworm fights deals damage equal to its power to each of its neighbors. Here's a card we like to protect with those Dominators. It's Glixel Proliferator, 3 power, Reap. If Glixel Proliferator is on a flank, archive a Mars card from your discard pile. Very nice. This also might be able to set up a cool Key Abduction turn. If you can get this guy to archive a couple of Mars cards, that gets you that much closer to that free key. Carpet Philoxum, 1 amber whenever you play it. If there are no friendly creatures in play, deal 4 damage to each creature. Agent Who-Man, 2 power, elusive, Reap. Choose a friendly non-Mars creature and an enemy non-Mars creature, stun the chosen creatures. If you're new to the channel, you haven't heard me talk about why I like this card so much. It's one of those effects that looks symmetrical, but it's actually not, because you can always keep choosing the same stunned creature you've already chosen in the past, and always pick out new creatures of your opponents. So this card is actually a lot better than it looks on surface value. Oh, Overlord Grekking, 7 power. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Overlord Grekking, put that creature into play under your control. This is a creature I love to see next to Dominators because I want to get as many creatures of my opponents as I can. And if they can't fight into this guy to destroy him, I have more targets I can choose. So that's really cool. I love that. Uh-oh, 3 Fates, Amber in every plate, destroy the 3 most powerful creatures, and we have 3 Dominators in here? Oh man. You're going to have to really be picky and choosy whenever you play this card, because you also have the Overlord Grekking in here as well, who's 7 power. This might be a great play if you're going second, your opponent played a creature, drop this, get an Amber, for sure destroy whatever creature they played. But if we get into the board state I'm thinking this deck should get into, there's a good odds you're not going to play this card unless your opponent found a way to maybe gateway to disc your creatures and then drop down some disc creatures on their turn. Then this card is okay. Yerk, 4 power, played. Choose and discard a card from your hand. Very nice. And a second Yerk. Unlocked Gateway, Omega. So once you play this, you end your turn. Play, destroy each creature. Always good to have a board wipe. Strek, 2 power, elusive. While Strek is not on a flank, your opponent refills their hand to 1 less card during their draw card steps. This is another one of those cards that just loves to be protected by Dominator. This is why I said Dominator is easily the best Mars creature in AOA. Because you have all these little creatures just like this. They have great effects, and you always want to protect them. Lash your Broken Dreams. It's an artifact. Action. Keys cost +3 Amber during your opponent's next turn. Excellent. Oh, Exhume. Amber, whenever you play it, choose a creature in your discard pile. You may play that creature as if it belonged to the active house and was in your hand. So let's say your opponent did have a way to deal with your Dominators. This card can actually bring them back, then play some other disc creatures, like maybe that Strek, and now you've already protected it. That's pretty nice. Cold of the Week. Amber, whenever you play it, destroy the least powerful enemy creature. And a second Cold of the Week. Amber Imp, 2 power, elusive. After a creature reaps, you stun it. And the last card of this deck is another Amber Imp. Alright, let's go ahead and get our Amber counted up here. I think it was a decent amount, especially if we include like the steals we have going on here, so that's pretty good. Once again, I'm not too sure about that 3 Fates if we're going to get the Amber off that. Do like those Dominators, like I said. Gromid, I don't know. We're going to see just how many Mars creatures we have in this deck. Sucker Punches probably are going to actually get us more Amber than we're thinking there. Good chance we might count one of those as 2 Amber. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, 18 is a great number. I like seeing that. Let's go ahead and check out our Amber control. So Swindle, of course. Nerve Blast, very nice. I do like to put the imps up, but I don't necessarily count them as Amber control. There's times where we just don't want them on the board, or we might just get rid of them ourselves, but they can help out. If your opponent does have a big board, forcing them to attack into those creatures does prevent them from reaping, so that's not too bad. Put the gang up. Oh, and you know, Red Lock could have been another Amber, but once again, it's very conditional, so I doubt we're going to count that. So as far as Amber control, I normally only count these as like a half each, but with the Dominators, I think these guys are going to survive a lot more often, and I think we're going to get some very reliable steals off these guys, so we're going to count them 1 each. 1, 2, 3, that's where we'll go half each, so 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Amber controls, pretty nice, especially whenever you consider Lash Broken Dreams can really slow them down. Same with the Swindle. Those are some big swings, and I think these gangs are going to get a lot more Amber than we typically will with other decks, so that's pretty nice. Alright, as far as some strategy here, so if we think we can actually get those Dominators down with Glixel Proliferator actually archiving a few Mars cards, might want a hidden stash. Maybe something like this Key Abduction early on. Have it in there, ready to go for whenever we have that big turn. Even if we don't necessarily get a free key, sometimes getting a cheaper key is pretty nice. Just paying 3 for a key, that can win a game. So I like that. The Exhume, I think there's some great targets in here. Maybe your opponent did deal with your gangs early on. You have a Dominator from a previous turn. It has an empty side. Go ahead and call Disc. Get a few creatures out. Play Cold of the Weeks. Control the board with Disc. Bring back the gang with the Exhume here. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like how the Shadows is just a great support house. Decent amount of steel. Great ways to just kind of control the smaller creatures, the big Reapers in the game. By big Reapers, I'm not saying big Reapers power-wise, I'm saying big Reapers because they're just some of the best Reapers there are. Things like Dew Fairies, heck, it doesn't even have to be a Reaper. Sometimes just play Shadows, use any of those 2 damage actions to take out a Hunting, which is nice. Let's go ahead and bring up all the creatures. That might be the one area that was a little bit light, but hopefully the spread is pretty good across all the houses. So let's check that out. with Mars obviously taking the cake on the creatures. That's pretty nice. So we have 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 18. Okay, that's real good. For some reason, maybe it was the discs. I knew there was less in discs. How many were in there? Oh, you know what? I thought there was less because I remember these 4. We did end up with 2 Amber Imps at the very end. So, okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, 6 in discs, 2 so far in shadows. Let's bring them up here. Okay, so only 4 in shadows. But I said, once again, the shadows is just a nice support house. We're not really calling it for the Reapers and things. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 in Mars. That's really good. I like having a house that is kind of the main house we're hoping to call most turns. I mean, if you look at these Mars creatures, we already talked about the Dominators, just completely messing up our opponent's attacks. But check it out. I mean, we have the Ancient Who-Man, the Proliferator, the Mind Worm. These are cards you want to protect, and you want to be able to use as often as possible. Take this Mind Worm, attack into an elusive. The Mind Worm survives for a future turn. Hopefully you've killed a couple other creatures, or you've really spread around some damage to set up some great plays with the Shadows turn. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, this deck, I like it for AOA. It has a lot of cards that are powerful on their own. It has some pretty good synergies. So the Shadows, it's just nice to see some steals and the damage there. Having a big board wipe is nice, just in case our opponent does get ahead on board. The only thing it's really lacking is artifact control. But once again, not every single deck is perfect. I do like these Yerks because I do believe cycling is really important in Keyforge. There's a lot of times where some of these cards aren't necessarily the most important cards, and you want to dig deeper to get to some of your better cards, like the Lash or the Swindle. So for the rating for this deck, it's above average, has a great Amber count. The Amber control is up there as well. 18 creatures, that's a big plus. I'm going to give it a B. I think this is a deck that performs at Chainbound. I think it's going to do pretty good at your local tournaments. It just has a lot of great things going for it, and a lot of elements to just kind of come all together. So those Dominators are actually what kind of pieces this deck together. They're slower, but that's not why you use Dominators. Use them so you can make your other creatures in your deck better. Alright guys, thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time.